Hi there, Smart Driver. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you tonight about 8 reasons why you will fail your driver's test. And we'll go into a bit of detail about those 8 overarching reasons. That's a bit of a mouthful. Stick around. We'll be right back with that information. Hi there, Smart Drivers. Welcome back. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you tonight about 8 reasons that you'll fail your driver's test. So in other words, if you don't do these things or you fill in these gaps for your driving, then you're going to be fine. You're going to pass your driver's test first time. So a few people here, Western Movies. Andre is here. Katie's here. And Eagles, Take It Easy, which is one of their better movies. And my friend Margaret is here. How are you? Awesome. So a few people are here, getting ready to go here. Andre, he's talking about school buses, middle lanes. At times I want to pass, but the car to the right is kind of in my way to make a clean pass. So do I let them know that I need to move over a little so I can pass? I don't really understand the question, Andre. I would probably need a bit of clarification on that. Jessie says she has her test on Tuesday. That's great. You're going to do awesome. My friend Ben is here. And so a few people here. So basically the way we do this is I do a presentation. The presentation's kind of 12 to 15 minutes, and then I'll come back and we'll spend the remainder of the hour answering any questions that you might have. So, and as well, consider hitting that thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to the channel. Tell your friends. Pass it around on social media. All of that helps us out and helps people to pass their driver's test. Ben said he's going to take his test in a month. That's awesome. And DC is taking his test tomorrow. Remember to breathe, DC. You're going to do awesome there, okay? Trudes Brown is here. Hello. Awesome. So lots of people here. So let's get going on the slideshow here. We'll get over to the presentation and hit the right button here. Here we go. Transition. So 8 reasons that you may fail a driver's test. First impressions. Consider first impressions. As I've said, make sure that you do a pre-trip inspection on your vehicle before you show up for your driver's test. As well, if you're going with a driving school, ask the instructor if he or she did a pre-trip inspection on your vehicle. And Corey will put the link up for you over to the Smart Drive Test website. You can pick up the checklist there, and we can talk more about that in the question and answer period. And consider giving your car a wash. Consider giving it a vacuum. You know, just especially in this day and age of COVID, you want to make sure that your vehicle is clean, especially if you're in one of the states or provinces where they're doing closed circuit, or not closed circuit testing, but they're doing shortened tests, and the examiner is going to be in your vehicle. So consider all of that before you show up for your driver's test. Pass your driver's test first time over at the Smart Drive Test website. $37.95. Guaranteed to pass your driver's test first time. As well, we'll throw in the winter driving and the defensive driving smart courses. And with winter on the doorstep, here's snow coming. I came back from Victoria there last week, and it was snowing on top of the Coquihalla. So it's coming down. The snow is here indeed. So consider that course. For those of you who might be new to Smart Drive Test, my name is Rick August. I was a truck driver during the 1990s. Drove back and forth between the United States and Canada, mostly east of the Mississippi, but I did make it out west a couple of times in the States there, out to Arizona and California and Nevada and places like that. 2006, I graduated from the University of Melbourne with a degree, a graduate degree in legal history. For those of you who may or may not know, it is the study of policing, courts, and prisons, and my expertise is in policing, oddly enough, as it relates to traffic. While I was going to university at the University of Melbourne in Australia, I also drove buses for Greyhound, so I also have coach experience in terms of when I teach driving and whatnot. If you want to know more about me, you can go over and read my autobiography over at the Smart Drive Test website, and again, Corey will put that link up for you. New video this week, I put up 3 driving test tips that you really need to have in place. One of them was actually from Margaret on a question she asked me about the New York practice driving test questions there. The other 2 were shoulder checking left and doing a pre-trip on your vehicle before you show up for a driver's test. So have a look at that new video as well. The first, number 8, the reason number 8 why you will fail a driver's test is you do not have competence or mastery of the primary controls, the steering wheel, the throttle, and the brake. And if you're taking it in Europe or other places in the world, you don't have mastery of the clutch. And if you're learning how to drive a manual transmission, mastery of the clutch is absolutely vital. If you don't learn how to master the clutch before starting to learn how to drive a manual transmission, you're going to do damage to the vehicle. You're going to wear out the clutch, and about 100,000 kilometers or about 80,000 miles, you're going to have to replace the clutch in it, which is about a $1,500 repair job on your car. So learn how to master the clutch. And as well, one of the ways that you can master, get higher mastery of the primary control is doing slow speed maneuvers in a parking lot with pylons as well. That will also teach you where your vehicle is in space and place. And when I say where is your vehicle in space and place, where is your vehicle in relation to fixed objects on the roadway, centering your vehicle in the laneway, where is your vehicle in relation to vulnerable road users, and know that you need to have a certain distance, a buffer of safety, space for safety between you and pedestrians, cyclists, people on scooters using mobility devices, and bicycles and those types of things. So have a look at all of those and do the slow speed maneuvers to get mastery of the primary controls. Next one is lane positioning. If you do not center your vehicle in the road, every time you deviate left or right in the lane, you are going to be assigned demerits on your driver's test. And you want to try and get as few demerits as you can, because it may be the difference between passing and failing your driver's test. When you're turning, you turn right lane to right lane, and when you turn left, you turn left lane to left lane. And for those of you who are turning left on a multi-lane road, as soon as you turn left, you have to move back over to the right lane. And we can talk more about that question and answer period. Know that it's a regulatory sign, which means it's the law. Slower traffic travel in the right lane. You must do that. And that means that you are going to be traveling the speed limit for the purposes of your driver's test. Traffic flow is going to be traveling slightly higher than what the posted speed limit is. You're the slow vehicle, so therefore you travel in the right lane. Okay, merging lanes, changing lanes and those types of things. Vehicles moving laterally, communicating, and emergency vehicles getting over as soon as an emergency vehicle approaches. And a lot of new drivers have difficulties with changing lanes. The biggest issue that I see with new drivers and changing lanes is that they don't communicate effectively. They don't have a minimum of 3 flashes on the signal before they start to move over. They don't ask other drivers or tell them, communicate effectively, that they in fact want to change lanes. If you ask other drivers, usually they're going to help you out. It's the same thing when you're merging onto a freeway. If you ask effectively, communicate effectively what you're doing, then other drivers will help you out. Remember, turn signals are not to tell other drivers that you're coming over. They're to ask other drivers that you're wishing to move over, right? If the space presents itself. All right. Too cautious. If you're too cautious on a driver's test, you don't go when the gap presents itself and those types of things, you're simply indicating to the driving examiner that you haven't practiced enough. You can be failed a driver's test for going too slow on a driver's test. So if you're doing 5 or 10 kilometers an hour below the posted speed limit for the entire road test, you are not going to be successful on your driver's test. You must do the posted speed limit for the duration of your test. You must take gaps and those types of things when they present themselves. So know that. Too cautious. And if you're being too cautious, if you're timid, you need to get in the parking lot. You need to do those slow speed maneuvers, and you need to work with the pylons. All right. Observation. This is one of the cornerstones of any driver's test, regardless of whether it's a passenger vehicle or whether it's a CDL vehicle, bus, truck, whatever it is. So you must shoulder check 2 times for every turn, 2 times for every lane change or merge. Anytime that you move the vehicle sideways, you have to shoulder check. Regardless if you have blind spot detectors or you have convex mirrors on your vehicle, you must shoulder check. If you don't shoulder check on your driver's test, you simply will not be successful. And Corey will put the video up for you on observation and seeing and showing that you have to move your head to be able to observe correctly when you're driving. Okay, looking far down the road, monitoring your gauges, and keep in mind that when you're doing your scanning pattern, that every 8 to 12 seconds, That includes the instrument panel. So your observation is directly linked to your management of speed of the vehicle. So people say to me, well, how much can I go over the speed limit, or how much less can I go the speed limit? You should be adjusting your speed every 8 to 12 seconds. If you're not adjusting your speed every 8 to 12 seconds, that indicates to the driving examiner that you're not scanning properly. That's essentially what it's telling them. All right, when you back up, you must look out the rear window. Yes, you can use a backup camera. You can't use it as your primary line of sight. You use it as you would your mirrors. You simply check it. You check your mirrors. But for the duration of your backup, you have to be looking out the back window, and you stop every approximately vehicle length, do another 360-degree scan, make sure there aren't any vehicles around you, and then continue backing up. Most slow-speed maneuvers, three-point turns, straight line backing, and reverse stall parking are not going to require you much more than a vehicle length, maybe 2 at the most. So know that for the purposes of your driver's test. Action contrary to a road sign. Know your traffic signs. These are not just to pass your learner's test. They're also critical information for your on-road driver's test. Okay, so failing to adjust speed according to signs. And what I'm going to tell you about traffic signs is make sure that you are practicing for your driver's test in and around your test center at the time that you're going to be taking your test. So if you're going to be taking your test at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday, that's during the week, make sure that you're practicing at 10 o'clock in the morning during the week in and around the test center. That way you know where the signs are, what the information is, when the speed is going to be changing, where the school zones are, and those types of things. Okay, lane end signs, stop signs. Know the difference between a 4-way stop and a 2-way stop. There are differences between those two types of intersections. Know where the school zone speed signs are. If you speed in a school zone during the week when school is in session, automatic fail on a driver's test, okay? Pay attention to road markings, and this goes with bicycle lanes. In some states, when you come up to the intersection and there's a bicycle lane there, the line will go from solid to dotted. If it's dotted, then you can move into the bicycle lane to prepare for your right-hand turn. If the line is solid, you cannot cross over that line into the bicycle lane to do your right-hand turn, as most of them are here in British Columbia where I live and other places, so know that as well. If you're in the city of Victoria here in British Columbia on Vancouver Island, again, they got all kinds of green painted lines and specific lights for bicycles and those types of things. You need to know specifically where you're going to be taking your driver's test and the details that apply to your driver's test, okay? Railroad crossings, railway crossings, wherever you are in the world, whichever word you use. Make sure that you pay attention to those as well and know where they are. And again, specifically here in Vernon, where we have a railway crossing, you have to stop at certain places for the railway crossing before you can go across. And you must come to a complete stop before you proceed across the intersection with the railway. All right? Striking a fixed object on a driver's test is an automatic fail. The number one place that drivers hit a fixed object is they hit the concrete barrier at the back of the parking when they come back and they back into the parking space. They get nervous, they back up too far, and they strike the concrete barrier behind the parking spot. So it's better to stay out a little bit than it is to back up too far and strike the concrete barrier, because that's an automatic fail on a driver's test. Slow speed maneuvers. The minimum slow speed maneuvers are going to be required for your driver's test: parallel parking, 3-point turn, reverse stall parking, backing into a parking space. Okay? Parking, 3-point turn, K-turn, Y-turn. It's got different names depending on where you are in the world, but those are the maneuvers that you need to do for the purposes of your driver's test. Second reason why you will fail a driver's test: a dangerous action. You block an intersection, you move into an intersection that you cannot clear, and then the light turns red. That is an automatic fail on a driver's test. Backing in an intersection. If you pull up and you go over the stop line, or you go over the crosswalk line and you're, oh my God, and you're too far ahead and you put it into reverse and you back up, that's an automatic fail on a driver's test. Never, ever, ever back up at an intersection. That's very dangerous, okay, even after you get your driver's license. The examiner intervenes. If the examiner intervenes in your driver's test, At any point, they put the transmission into neutral, they take control of the steering wheel. Again, an automatic fail on a driving test. Insufficient gap. If another driver during your road test has to take evasive action to avoid you, that again is another fail on a driver's test. And so that was the last one, insufficient gap and those types of things. Okay? The number one reason why you will fail a driver's test is because you simply don't know what's on the driver's test for your test center. For example, you take your test in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and you don't know that parallel parking is done in the parking lot off a concrete barrier, which is a little bit weird for those if you've been practicing for the whole time on the street parking behind one vehicle. They do it in the parking lot. You don't know whether they parallel park with cones or they parallel park out on the roadway. Where are the school zones? What are the slow speed maneuvers that you have to do? So what I recommend to you is before, if you haven't taken driver training, in the days before your road test, book a mock road test with a local driving school. The driving instructor will take you on the road test around the test center. They'll give you feedback on your driving. They'll tell you what skills and abilities need to be strengthened before you take your driver's test. They'll give you great feedback. So know that for the purposes of your driver's test. I just can't say enough the value and the return on an investment in doing a mock road test. Okay, so bonus, lane positioning, blocking intersections, dangerous actions. I went over most of this stuff, but these are things that you need to pay attention to for the purposes of your driver's test. If you can't clear an intersection, simply stop on the far side where you are, wait for the intersection of the traffic to clear, and then proceed through the intersection. Again, we can talk more about this in question and answer here. All right, so again, consider the pass your driver's test first time. We include defensive driving and the winter driving course. And as I said, we're on the doorstep of winter and snow and all that good stuff. All right, so good luck on your driver's test. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. And we'll get back over here. There we go. All right, we'll answer some questions here. Margaret said that her friend failed her first driver's test because the driving instructor had a heart attack during the test and had to stop. Well, it's unlikely that she failed, Margaret, if the instructor had a heart attack. Was it the driving instructor that had a heart attack, or was it the driving examiner that had a heart attack? Because if either one of those things, it more sounds like the test was simply stopped and rescheduled. It wasn't the fact that she actually failed the driver's test. Todd, what should I do when a cyclist is using a crosswalk to cross the road and they are waiting for you to stop? Todd, where are you in the world? That will determine my question, the answer to your question. Abyss, on my first test, the instructor wanted me to parallel park in front of a fire hydrant. I thought he was tricking me and failed. Abyss, why did he fail you? Because you wouldn't do it? Is that the reason that he failed you? Because I can understand why they would get you to park in front of a fire hydrant. You could simply say to the examiner, that's illegal. I can't park in front of a fire hydrant. But if you simply want me to park in front of the fire hydrant to demonstrate that I can do parallel parking and then we'll leave immediately, I think you can do that. But, just make sure that you say to the examiner that, indeed it is, it's illegal to park in front of a fire hydrant. Margaret, she failed because the test was stopped. The examiner had a heart attack and she said they failed her. Margaret, they wouldn't have failed her. Not for that. Not if the examiner had a heart attack. If the examiner had a heart attack, they would have just stopped the test. I find it unlikely that they would have failed her unless there was something else going on, but that's not a reason for failing somebody. Jesse, how far can you be to the vehicle in front of you? Okay, so following distance, Jesse, 2 to 3 second following distance, 3 seconds ideal. When you stop in traffic, you want to stop so you can see the tires of the vehicle in front of you making clear contact with the pavement. That's how far you stop back from the vehicle in front of you. Ben, never cannot park in front of a fire hydrant. No, it's totally illegal that you can't park in front of a fire hydrant, Ben, but you can, it depends on the examiner. If you can, if you're just doing it to demonstrate that you're parallel parking, I mean, sometimes I've heard of examiners doing that in front of a fire hydrant because they can't find a space, or they get you to do it at the end of a driveway because they can't find a space. But you just need to be clear with the examiner. I mean, it's unlikely that they're going to get you to do this, okay? Because it's something illegal, and driving examiners are not trying to trick you. So it's unlikely that it's going to happen. But in the unlikely case that it does happen with a driving examiner, because he or she can't find some place for you to demonstrate parallel parking, say to them, listen, it's illegal to park in front of a driveway. It's illegal to park in a fire hydrant. But if you want me to park here just to demonstrate that I can parallel park, then yes, sure, we'll do it. But the onus is on you, right? I know it's all goofy, but that's what you need to say, okay? Todd, you're in BC. Todd, if somebody's at a crosswalk in the province of British Columbia and they're using it to cross on their bicycle, stop, let them go, and then carry on with your life, okay? Ben, what tires do you need in winter in Minnesota? Ben, needed M&S, mud and snow, or you want the snowflake symbol on them with the mountain with the snowflake symbol on them is what you want for tires in places where they get a lot of snow, such as Minnesota. Beast, when the instructor gives an instruction like parallel park or 3-point turn, how much time should you wait before doing it? Because sometimes they might say it at an intersection or at a parked car driveway. Boss, driving examiners with any amount of experience, if they've been on the job for at least a week, they are going to give you plenty of notice and clear instruction on what they want you to do. They are trained to do that because they know that you're nervous, they know that you're under pressure, they know that your skill level is not high, and they can't trick you or just say at the last minute, hey, you know, do a 3-point turn right here or park right here. They're not going to do that. Because they know that they're endangering their safety and the safety of other people on the road. So they are going to they're going to give you plenty of notice. They're going to give you clear instruction. All right. Ben, we get tons of snow. Then Ben, I definitely recommend good winter tires. Personally, I like Michelin's X Ice tires. That's my preference for winter tires. I'm not being paid by Michelin, but my preference is Michelin tires. I really like Michelin tires. Okay. Okay. Permaculture. In New Zealand, we can park in front of a fire hydrant if someone that can move it stays in the car. Yeah, in permaculture, that's pretty much the same anywhere else, as long as somebody's in the vehicle and the vehicle can be moved in the event that there's a fire and the fire department shows up. The reason that you can't park in front of a fire hydrant is because if there's a fire and the fire department shows up, they can't get access to the fire hydrant. But what I said before was that, you know, if you're just demonstrating for the purposes of parallel parking, you just back in, do your parallel park, go, yeah, there we go, and then you drive away, right? You're not interfering with fire crews and getting at the fire hydrant. So this is the reason why, you know, we're spending way too much time on this because it's very unlikely it's going to happen. So the horse is dead. Get off the horse. Last thing, that's all I'm going to say. Okay, Beast, how long should you stop at a stop sign? Okay, Beast, excellent question, frequently asked question. It's not how long you stop at a stop sign. You have to stop so the vehicle comes to a complete stop. Corey will put the video up for us on a complete stop of a vehicle. The vehicle is two pieces, okay? Wheels, chassis, frame, suspension. The body is hooked to the frame via the suspension, all right? When you come up and you brake at an intersection, what happens is the body moves forward of the chassis. So you come up, you let off the brake just before you come to a stop, the body rests back over the frame, you reapply the brakes and bring the vehicle to a complete stop. When the body settles back over the frame, that's when the vehicle is at a complete stop. When you're at a complete stop, at the correct stopping position, then you can proceed. So, at a controlled intersection, it's before the stop line, before the crosswalk or sidewalk, and if those two conditions don't exist, then at the edge where the two roads meet. And once you come to a complete stop at the correct stopping position, then you treat it as a yield. You move up until you can see the cross traffic, and you proceed when the way is clear. That's how you stop at a controlled intersection. My email, thanks for all your videos. You're most welcome, my friend. Christine, if the stoplight turns yellow right before you enter the intersection, should you go or stop? Christine, for the purposes of a driver's test, red and yellow are the same color. If you can get the vehicle stopped, get the vehicle stopped. But make sure you check that center mirror, make sure that there's nobody in your trunk, because if you come to a complete stop really quickly, then in fact they will be in your trunk. So that's a bit of a learning thing, and it comes with a bit of practice. 2 or 3 weeks of practice is that you got to get the vehicle stopped on a yellow light. Because if you go through the intersection and the examiner looks up through the top of the windshield and sees the light turn red before you clear the intersection, automatic fail on a driver's test. So know that, practice that, get enough driving experience that on a yellow light, you bring the vehicle to a stop. All right? Toulouse, I know we have to increase the amount of space around us during winter. Toulouse, yes, you definitely have to increase your following distance in the wintertime. You want to have your following distance sort of instead of 2 to 3 seconds, you want your following distance 3 to 5 seconds. The other critical thing, the other critical skill that you need to employ in the winter time is where you actually want to stop. You stop back from there or slow down, and then you creep up to you actually want to stop. Because particularly at intersections are going to be slippery, because what happens is the cars come up on the ice, they stop, they brake, they skid, and they compact the snow and it freezes, and intersections are especially slippery, especially more so as you get away from the major roads that are not salted and sanded and plowed, right? So know that at intersections it's going to be more slippery than it is in other places, okay? Brown, if there's an emergency vehicle behind me without any siren, should I pull over or should I continue on at a regular posted speed limit? Brown, if the lights are on or the siren's blaring, you need to pull over immediately and allow the emergency vehicle to go past you. If the lights are not on, it's just the emergency vehicle, then it's just another vehicle on the roadway. It either has to have the sirens on or it has to have the lights flashing for you to be able to have to pull over and stop. Okay, Ben, what speed should I do if there is no cars behind me? Did I miss the beginning of that, Ben? You should always do the posted speed limit for the purposes of a driver's test. Margaret, do they schedule driver's tests around rush hour? Margaret, as a rule, they don't schedule them around rush hour, but they still do them at 9 o'clock in the morning and they do them at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, saying that, Margaret, if it's a car test, they're not going to take you out onto the major roadways where there's congestion. They're going to take you into the residential areas and they're going to get you to do your slow speed maneuvers, the 3-point turn, your parallel park, and they're going to take you around the schools and those types of things. Not so much the schools, because they're not going to go there at 8:45 in the morning when all the parents are letting off and whatnot. Driving examiners are very good at knowing where to go in the morning when they know that traffic is backed up and congestion, and they go there in the afternoon and those types of things. All right. Boy, do I take turn wide or close to the curb? You want to stay in the center of the lane. And one of the things that I suggest to you, boy, is to look at the beginner driver video. Corey will put that up for you. And that will help you to stay centered in the lane. It'll also teach you mastery of the steering wheel, and it will teach you where your vehicle is in space and place and how to center it in the lane and how to do turns and those types of things, okay? Beast, is it good to look at the timer, the one for the pedestrian on the crosswalk as you're passing a traffic light intersection? Yes, if you have a timer on the traffic light, I don't know how prolific those are in other places in the world, in North America and whatnot. I know they're sporadic here in Canada, and you can see the timers and those types of things, but definitely have a look at the timer, because if the timer is clicking down and it's in the single digits and getting near zero, you know that the light is most likely going to turn yellow, right? And you're going to be ready for that stale green light. So yes, definitely look at the timer. Ben, I have my road test at 9:20 on the 18th of November, so you have a good month to practice yet. Sharma, we hear emergency vehicle sirens from too far but can't see an emergency vehicle. So do I need to stop when you hear the siren or when you see the vehicle? You need to be looking for the emergency vehicle, because you don't want to stop right away, because the emergency vehicle may turn off before it gets to you. Usually if, you can hear the sirens, you know that it's behind you somewhere. Usually you can see it about 3 blocks back. And once you see it about 3 blocks back, that's generally when you want to pull over and, either pull over, or if you're at the intersection, stay stopped at the intersection. And have a look at the video that I just did here on emergency vehicles. Corey will put that up for you, and have a look at that, and you'll see a couple of different examples of, pulling over to the side of the road. And it doesn't necessarily have to be pulling over to the right side of the road. The closest shoulder may be the left side of the road, or simply just stay stopped. Okay? Ben says they have lots of timers there in Minnesota, and that is definitely helpful. Determining if the intersection is going to, if the light is going to change at the intersection. Ben, if you've been driving for, and practicing already in terms of your driver's test, and you're getting ready for your driver's test, what I would suggest to you, Ben, is to revisit the fundamentals. Go and get some of those 3-foot, 1 meter tall pylons, and go back to the parking lot and practice some of the exercises from the fundamentals, and just revisit that, get some more mastery of the primary controls, and learn where your vehicle is in space and place. And the other thing, Ben, that I would suggest to you is maybe get some of those small witch's hat and run over them. Just to have fun with it, and just, be aggressive on the primary controls and those types of things in the parking lot, and have fun with all of that, and just figure out how close you can get to it on the passenger side of the vehicle. How close can you get to the pylon before you hit it? How close can you get when you're backing up? How close can you get to it when you scream down the parking lot, hit on the brakes, and then stop before the pylon? So lots of fun there. Beast, I heard examiners test you on your confidence behind the wheel. You may take a little mistake or two, but if you are overall confident and your examiner feels comfortable, you will pass. Is this true? Just one sec. Beast, confidence is everything. And it's what I tell students when they take driving tests. If you make a mistake, just keep going, because the driving examiner may or may not even see the mistake or think that it was a mistake that you thought was a mistake. So just keep going. Just keep moving forward on your driver's test there. Okay? Yes, confidence is everything. And attitude is everything too, right? And I've mentioned this to some smart drivers in the past about washing their vehicle, vacuuming your vehicle out, putting on nice clothes. I'm not saying put on a suit and tie and go and do your driver's test, but make sure you have a nice t-shirt on that doesn't have any rips in it, jeans that don't have any rips in it, clean the mud off your shoes, because we don't get a second chance to make a first impression. And, I had students that would show up for a driver's test in truck driving, and, they got piercings in their face, and they got long hair, and they got ratty jeans on. You can't tell me that does not people don't have biases against the way people dress and those types of things. They do. And so whatever you can do to get through it, and it's like that old saying, you got to go along to get along. Yes, we don't agree with wearing masks and those types of things, but driver's test, what do you want? This is the thing. You go through life, you will ask yourself the question that I always ask myself when I'm faced with conflict. What do I want? What do I want? How do I get there? And it's the same thing with your driver's test. What do you want? I want my driver's license. Well, what do I got to do to get my driver's license? And you only want to do it once. You don't want to go back and do it again. So spend the time and vacuum your car out. Spend the time and wash your car. Spend the time and, shave and put on your makeup. Not for guys, but for girls, women. Put on your makeup, do your hair, comb your hair. I don't have any hair, but, that's what you need to do. Do what you need to do to get to where you want to be. Excuse me. Oh, still got this goofy cough. Okay. Your political affiliation does not matter about your driver's test, okay? And driving examiners really shouldn't be talking about that. Ben, how hard is curbside parking? Excellent question, Ben, and this is why I told you to go back and do the fundamentals with the 1 meter tall, 3 foot tall pylons, because that will teach you how to do curbside parking. And I've been thinking about this the last couple of days about, curbside parking and people scrubbing their tires. It's because they haven't done that. They haven't practiced with the pylons in the parking lot. Margaret, I haven't worn makeup in 25 years. Not about to start for a driving test. Fair enough, Margaret. Fair enough. Anyway. just comb your hair. We'll just leave it at that. Okay, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. All right. Scarlett, no, I don't have corona. Actually, I have dirty carpet gross syndrome. I was renovating my rental unit, pulled the carpet up, and there was so much gross yuck in the carpet. We just, we disturbed it and it went airborne, and I've still got dust in my throat from that. So no, I don't have COVID. I do not have corona. So anyway, that's what it is from gross carpet. And all I could hear all last week when I was coughing and hacking and being sick was my mom saying, "Carpet is so gross." So new golden rule about rental units. Don't put carpet in rental units. I digress. Bobby, you like my Spider-Man cup? Yep, it's one of the signatures of the live stream on Sunday nights is the Spider-Man cup. Okay, Catboy, you drive a really big Dodge. Do I turn wide or no? No, you don't turn wide. Okay, so Catboy, what I recommend to you, Corey will put up the video for you on parallel parking a large vehicle. Have a look at that. Okay, I'm kind of excited here because the number for the live stream is hovering around 99 people here. We're just about to break 100, and this will be like the first time in, 4 years that we're just about to break 100. We were just at 99, and I'm like, I'll be so excited if it breaks 100. So anyway, very excited. Brad, how often should you check mirrors while driving? Also, should you put on signals when backing out of parking spaces? Yes to the second question. So make sure that you signal anytime you turn, anytime you move the vehicle sideways, that you signal. We did it. 101 people on the live stream. we did it. Yes! We broke 100 people on the live stream. That's awesome. Excellent. Sorry, I got distracted. 100 people. That's a new record for the Smart Drive Test live streams. I'm super excited about that. Super excited. Awesome. All right, so going back to the question, signals, yes. Anytime you back up, anytime you go forward, you turn, you move the vehicle sideways, signal. Okay? Excellent. That's awesome. Everybody hit the thumbs up button. That was absolutely awesome. 104 people on the live stream. Wow. Awesome. I'm really stoked. I am really stoked. That is really awesome. I was saying to a friend of mine, my really good friend Tim, who's been with this kind of Smart Drive Test enterprise since the beginning, that I said I'm really excited about the business now. I'm really excited about the YouTube channel. It's just absolutely bloody brilliant. I'm so excited about it. And, everything is just going forward. And it's like, some of you, I told you this last week in the spring, my back was out. We had COVID. The world was going to heck in a handbasket kind of thing. And, kind of gave myself a little talk. And I said, this is important. This is important what we're doing here. We're helping people to pass their driver's test. We're empowering people to learn how to drive and be better drivers, to be smarter drivers. And, as soon as we started giving this the energy it needed, everything took off. And here we are. More than 100 people on a live stream. That is just absolutely, that just blows me away. Just blows me away. It's really awesome. Thank you so much. Bukhari, there we go. Hello from Mississippi. That's awesome. Still haven't answered your question, Ben. Sorry, we got a little distracted there on the over the 100 people on the live stream. That's absolutely awesome. So if I missed your question, as you know, it's very busy with over 100 people on the live stream. Just retype your question and I'll be more than answered. Okay, so back here with when should you signal? Anytime you move the vehicle sideways, anytime that you're backing up, and you have a scanning pattern in place every 8 to 12 seconds. You're looking down the road, in, check your center mirror, down the road, in, check your instrument panel, far down the road, check your left wing mirror, far down the road, in, check your right wing mirror, and that repeats every 8 to 12 seconds. And so again, I come back to what I said during the presentation was that if you're not adjusting your speed every 8 to 10 seconds, that tells the driving examiner on your driver's test that you don't have your scanning pattern in place, that you're not adjusting your speed according to your scanning pattern. All right. So that's what you need to do. And again, signaling. Okay, Chris, when changing lanes, wouldn't it make more sense to signal first than to let other drivers know your intentions and then mirror signal shoulder check after you make sure it's safe to switch over? Okay, so Chris, excellent question. And that's exactly what you do is you signal. Now, so you're signaling as you're looking, okay? So you're signaling, checking your mirror, and your shoulder checking all kind of at the same time. So it's kind of all one movement, right? So you're signaling, checking your mirror, shoulder checking, and then coming back, looking forward, and then doing that again. So that's exactly the way that you do it, Chris. Okay? What car should I use for my driver's test? Ben, what car do you have that you're planning on taking for your driver's test? Okay? Daniel, I have my driver's test. One thing is that I'm using my dad's Ram 1500 truck. It might be hard to do a 3-point turn. No, Daniel, you should be all right with that. Also look at the parallel parking a large vehicle. Daniel, I was using my friend's Dodge Ram 2500, so a little bit bigger than what you've got even. So there you go. Okay. Ben, I asked you what vehicle you have. Sandhu, how do you parallel park perfectly? Corey will put the video up for you on parallel parking. Here we go. Margaret, you're most welcome. Thank you for being part of the Smart Driver community. That's simply awesome. Bobby, use a car you are comfortable driving and you have lots of practice it. And that's exactly it. DG, you passed your driver's test. That's absolutely awesome. DG, where did you pass your driver's test? Ben, okay, we looked at that. Do I need to stop if emergent vehicles on the other side of divided road with a divider? Sharma, no. For that, so if you're on a roadway, you're in town, and there's a divider that's intermittent, then yes, you do have to stop. But if you're out on the highway and there's a solid concrete barrier or there's a median in the middle, like a grass median, then no, you don't have to stop. Okay? Joseph, mine's in 10 days and I'm nervous. Yes, you are. Remember to breathe. Remember, it's going to be okay. You're going to do awesome. Okay? Greg, I asked a question on one of your videos. Is the mirror a good 45-degree angle point in my dad's truck or no? Tomorrow's my driver's test. Oh, sorry, Gerg, not Greg. And I apologize if I'm not saying that right. Yes. So the 45-degree is kind of, here's the wing mirror and here's the A-pillar, the piece of the vehicle that holds the front windshield in. So it should be, the 45 should be like right off there is where the 45-degree angle should be. Okay? Jabroni, what did the big tomato say to the little tomato? Catch up. Yes. I watch Pulp Fiction too. It's an awesome joke. Tips for the New York City drive test. What constitutions do you support? Okay, this is not a conversation about communism. No. Ban practice parallel parking. Yes. Tips for Massachusetts driving test. Okay, we'll go over that. How do I go through a stop sign when there are parked cars left or right blocking my field of view? Okay, Ouija. Come to a complete stop at the correct stopping position first. So at a controlled intersection, it's the stop line, crosswalk line before the sidewalk, and if those two conditions don't exist, then at the edge where the two roads meet. After you come to a complete stop at the correct stopping position, move forward slowly until you can see cross traffic. When the way is clear, then you proceed. Oh, my apologies. It just gets in my throat and then I start coughing. Sandu, do I live in Canada? I live in Canada, but most of the information here on the channel is directed towards the United States, okay? That's my biggest audience. Okay, Toulouse, my dad just got a Hyundai Entourage, but I'm not on the insurance, so would I still be able to use it for my test? If you're not on the insurance, Toulouse, then no, you can't use it for your test. Okay, Epic did a road test during heavy rain in 2018, failed because I ended up focusing on parallel parking and turned into the road, which I ended up focusing on. Should a driving school review the test to help me there? Yes, Epic, definitely have a driving instructor help you with that and go over that and review that with you. Maximilian, I've noticed cars that have backup cameras need them, so just use it. Maximilian, you can't use a backup camera as your primary line of sight for a driver's test when you're reversing. You can check it though, so check it like your mirrors, but you still have to look out the rear window for the purposes of your driving test. Okay, Sakubi, when at an intersection I want to turn right and the person on the opposite lane wants to turn left, meaning we are going in the same direction, who has the right of way? So the right lane, our right turning vehicle over left turning vehicle. So basically when the vehicle is turning left from over here and you are turning right, do not turn in beside the other vehicle. You either want to turn in front of that vehicle or you want to turn in behind that vehicle. So whenever you're turning on multi-lane roads, never turn in beside the other vehicle. Always turn in front of it or behind it. Okay? Smith, I never really messed a K-turn up recently. In fact, I did a ton of them. But how do you know if the front of you'll hit the curb or not? Let me see here. Smith, you're driving the big truck, right? The big vehicle. Then, you know, if you're just going to have to practice that. And what I recommend to you with the vehicle that you have is to go and get one of those 3-foot, 1 meter tall pylons and practice to see how close you can get to it before you hit it with the front of the vehicle. And know that you're going to have a little bit of tolerance there with the curb, because the curb's actually going to go under the front of the vehicle before you strike it with the tires. You're probably going to strike it with the tires, not the front of the vehicle. Okay? Tips for Minnesota road test. Okay, so tips for driver's tests. Any driver's test, doesn't matter whether it's in New York or it's in Massachusetts or it's in, where was the last one? Minnesota. Four points for driver's tests regardless of where you are. Space management. 2 to 3 second following distance. Stop in traffic so that you can see the tires of the vehicle in front of you making clear contact with the roadway. Stop at the correct stopping positions at controlled intersections, before the stop line, before the crosswalk line. If those two conditions don't exist, then at the edge where the two roads meet are the correct stopping positions. One lane between your vehicle and pedestrians. So for example, if you're turning right and a pedestrian is coming towards you, you need one lane between you and the pedestrian before you turn. Or if there's a pedestrian and you're turning left and there's a pedestrian on the cross street, that pedestrian needs to reach the curb before you go. So you want one lane of safety between you and the pedestrian. Okay. Don't block an intersection. Don't drive into an intersection you can't clear before the light turns red. Okay, so that's space management. What else do I need to say about space management? I think I got everything. Okay, so next one's speed management. Posted speed limit or the flow of traffic, whichever is less. And space management trumps speed management. So you need to control the space around your vehicle, especially in front of your vehicle, and you need to drive slower if that space in front of your vehicle starts to close up. Okay, last two are observation and communication. Observation, you need to have your scanning pattern in place. Every 8 to 10 seconds, you need to be looking far down the road. Check your center mirror, far down the road, both shoulders. Check your instrument panel. Far down the road, check your left wing mirror. Far down the road, and then check your right wing mirror. That's your scanning pattern for straightforward driving. All right, and as I said a couple of times before, your scanning pattern is directly related to your speed control. Okay, if your speed control is up and down and not being adjusted every 8 to 12 seconds, that tells the examiner that you're not scanning properly. So observation, so anytime that you're changing lanes or turning, 2 shoulder checks minimum before you turn left or turn right or change lanes or move the vehicle sideways. And we had the question before, signaling. Every time you move the vehicle sideways or turn, backing up and going forward. Reversing, 360-degree scan around the vehicle, checking your mirrors. If you have a backup camera, check your backup camera, then look out the rear window for the duration of your backing. All right, last one is communication. You need to communicate effectively with other traffic, and the 5 ways that we communicate with other traffic are lights and signals, Horn, use your horn sparingly because in this day and age it's seen as a sign of aggression. Hand gestures, make sure you use all 5 fingers. Don't tell someone else they're number 1 on a driver's test. And then eye contact, vulnerable road users, pedestrian cyclists, those types of things, get eye contact if you're not sure what they're doing. And the last way that we communicate with other traffic effectively is the position of the vehicle on the roadway. So if the vehicle is in the left turning lane, there's a good chance that there's a high chance that that vehicle is going to turn left. So those are the 4 components of any driver's test, regardless of where you are in the US or where you are in Canada. Okay, so space management, speed management, observation, and communication. Those are the 4 keys to passing a driver's test and being successful in getting your driver's license. Okay, beats, where'd you go? Okay, Ben, when in doubt, let the other driver go. Yes, and that is exactly it, what Ben just said. If you have a traffic situation that you don't know what to do and you don't know who has the right of way, simply stop, wait, and within 2 or 3 seconds, the traffic situation will change and you will be able to proceed and not get dinged demerits on your driver's test. I know that on a driver's test, if you stop for 2 or 3 seconds, it's going to seem like an eternity, but in some cases, it's going to be your best bet. Especially, say, for example, that you're at a 4-way stop and you're not sure who goes first. Just pause 2 to 3 seconds, because I guarantee you that somebody else at the 4-way stop is going to go first. They will simply I'm not waiting, and they'll go. Okay, so do that for the purposes of your driver's test. Just stop. If you're not sure how to handle the situation, simply stop. Beast, is hitting the curb while parallel parking or a 3-point turn instant fail? Or can you apologize, be confident, and continue? No, Beast, if you hit the curb, you knock the examiner out of his or her seat, that's an automatic fail. If you touch the curb and you readjust, no, it's very unlikely that they're going to fail you. But if you hit the curb and, again, the chassis, the wheels, the suspension, and the frame, and the body of the vehicle, if the body rocks over the chassis when you hit the curb, yeah, that's definitely an automatic fail on a driver's test. Smith, just making sure you did say in the little thing holds the windshield and the wing mirror is the 45-degree angle. Yes, this right up here, Smith. Okay. Epic, speaking of stop sign intersections on a road test, will it be acceptable to stop before the 2 roads meet, even though there is a stop line painted in the ground? What would be the correct way? If there's a stop line, Epic, you have to stop before the stop line. That is the correct stopping position for your driver's test. Sharma, is second stop mandatory at stop signs if side vision is not clear? No, Sharma, come to a complete stop at the correct stopping position at the stop sign intersection. After you come to a complete stop at the stop sign, then you move forward and treat it as a yield, okay? You don't have to come to another stop. Ben, what traffic light do I need to pay attention to the most? The one in front of you when you're going to proceed through the intersection. Can we use backup cameras on a driving test? Bukhari, you can look at it. You can't use it as a primary line of sight. Corey will put the video up for you on using backup cameras for the purposes of your driver's test. Adler, I have a question. What happens if I fail my driver's test? Adler, Corey will put a video up for you on what happens if I fail my driver's test. It'll go through exactly what you need to do for the purposes of your driver's test. Get back on your feet and get your driver's test done and be successful on that. Expert Gamer, tips for yellow lights. Practice yellow lights, okay? Remember, for the purposes of a driver's test, a yellow and a red light mean the same thing. Stop, okay? Because if you go into the intersection on a yellow light and you're halfway through the intersection, the examiner looks up, because the examiner will look up. That's what we do. And that traffic light changes to red while you're still in the intersection. That's an automatic fail on a driver's test, okay? 740, what is the same testing procedures when you took your license test? No, 740, it definitely wasn't the same testing procedures when I took my driving test. It's got a lot more strict. There's a lot more red tape because of the GDL, the Graduated Driver's License, or the GLP, which is the other name for it here in Canada. So no, it wasn't the same at all. However, 740, I've done a lot of driving tests. A lot. Probably more than most. So I've done car license, motorcycle license test. I've done my Class D, which is a straight truck license test, tractor trailer license test, and what else did I do? Then I did my driving instructors. No, I didn't do a test for my commercial CDL driver's instructors. I did my CDL driving instructors in Ontario, which is a bit weird, but I won't talk about that. Then I got my school bus license in Ontario, which is a separate class of license. Then I did my driving instructors in Ontario. Went to Australia. I had to requalify, so I had to do the car license, just a written for the car in Australia. I had to go and actually do an on-road test for my CDL license in Australia. I came back to British Columbia, and when I came back to British Columbia, I had to redo all of the tests, and it was probably the most rigid amount of tests that I had to do in British Columbia because I challenged the driving instructor's license here, and I had to go through and do all the tests. And so I had to do a battery of written tests, and then I had to do 3 or 4 lectures, like classroom instruction, and then I had to do demonstrate pre-trip inspection, and then I had to do an actual lesson on the road. So I've done probably a dozen driver's tests with independent agencies in Ontario and around the world and whatnot. So yeah, I've done a lot of stuff. Okay, there we go. Corey got the video up for the backup camera. Thanks for that. Chris, tips for staying at 50 kilometers an hour when driving for the road test. Should I hover over my brakes or let the pressure off the acceleration? Chris, if you're going down a hill, you might have to brake a little bit just to keep it at 50 kilometers an hour. But the other thing is, and Corey will put the video up for you on speed control there. Do the exercises in that, Chris, and that'll really help you out, okay? Krishna, I'm taking a test in Toronto. After taking a left turn, do I have to change lanes immediately on my own or wait for the instructor to give me that? Okay, so Krishna, yes, change lanes immediately back to the right. Only stay in the left lane if the driving examiner says to you that you're going to turn left a couple of blocks up the road, okay? Otherwise, just automatically change lanes back to the right lane because slower traffic travels in the right lane, and the examiner, he or she, is not going to tell you to do that. You just need to do that on your own. Okay? Cole, how can I work on quicker decision making? Cole, one of the things you want to be looking farther down the road. You want to be looking and interpreting traffic patterns, and you want to be, from those traffic patterns, you can interpret what individual drivers are going to be doing on the roadway. So basically just getting your vision up, looking farther down the road, scanning intersections well ahead, and those types of things, and that'll help you with your decision making in terms of driving and whatnot. Okay, Expert Gamer, thanks. By the way, I've passed since January. That's simply awesome. Brad, I have my test on November, it's moving on me, 30th. Do you think I can get enough practice in? Brad, absolutely. You can definitely get that in. So what I would suggest, Brad, if you're driving on the road now and you're practicing for your test, one of the things I would suggest is that in a couple of weeks, go back to the parking lot, get some of those 36-inch tall, 1 meter tall pylons, and just revisit the fundamentals. Spend 4 hours in the morning or 3 hours or something just doing the exercises to get a higher mastery of the primary controls and learning where your vehicle is in space and place. Beast, let's say you're quite close to the traffic light and it turns yellow. You decide to stop, but it's a harsh one, and you stop very abruptly and moves you out of your seat a little. Will you fail? Beast, no, you won't. I've had guys in tractor trailers with the same thing, locking it up, coming up to the lights. And that's basically what you got to do because you don't want to go into the intersection. It's actually a bit better to be a bit aggressive on the stop than it is to go through the intersection and have the light turn red on you and fail. So yeah, I would suggest you do that. Chadwick, when turning left in a intersection, if your vision is blocked by 2 vehicles, how can you get a better look? So Chadwick, and this just not just what Chadwick says, but anybody else, where I go and do jujitsu, when we come out of the laneway, there's trucks and cars parked on both sides. When you can't see, don't just blindly go. You have to slow down and inch forward until you can actually see. Creep out until you can actually see. Just don't blindly go. This isn't Star Trek. Okay, boldly go where no man has gone before. Don't do that. Okay, this is driving. If you can't see cross traffic, go very slowly, stick your nose out, and just creep out until you can see. It's the same thing as coming out of a parking lot. If you're backing out of a space and you can't see, or you don't know where other road users are behind you, just go slow. Poke your vehicle out and then move backwards. Okay? Okay, Harold, you got yours on Wednesday. Good luck on that. Krishna, thank you so much. I have my test on Friday. Hope I pass. Yes, you're going to do awesome. All the best. When should I start driving on the highway after I pass my driver's test? Harold, as soon as possible. Janet, I've been busy and missed a few live streams. How is your back now? Janet, I'll leave the expletives out, but my massage therapist said to me that I'm a miracle. I'm a bloody miracle, because I went on the meds. I was completely zonked out on the meds that the doctor put me on. 2 days before I was supposed to go to surgery, I called the surgeon and I said, does this happen? Does this fix itself? And he said, yeah, every now and again. He said, but it can get bad too. And my back is fine. Absolutely fine. Now it's dirty carpet I've been up against. But anyway, and let me tell you, this is all gratitude about my back, Janet. Absolutely pure gratitude, because wow, was my back out. Okay. Bobby, how many chances do you get to parallel park on a driver's test? Is it just once? I heard someone say in Alberta you get 3 times. Bobby, you basically get one adjustment. So if you back in and something's wrong, you can try again, okay? They're not going to ding you for any of that. So you get one adjustment on any maneuver. Okay? Ben, what identification pads I need to bring for my driver's test? So bring 3 pieces of ID, Ben. Your driver's license, 1 other piece of identification, government identification that has a photo on it, and then 1 just as a backup, just in case. Thomas, hi, we watched your videos in my driver's ed class this year, and now I have my license. Thank you for helping me with my journey to adulthood. That's awesome, Thomas. Thank you so much, and congratulations on getting your driver's license. So happy that we could help out. Asan, I got my license last year, but I'm still anxious when driving because all my instructors and family yelled at me when learning. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That's very unfortunate. But remember, just keep the mantra in your head. I can do this. I'm a safe driver. Chris, when entering a roundabout, when do you stop before entering, and when can you just go without having to stop? Chris, yes, roundabouts can be a little tricky. I remember the learning curve I had when I moved to Australia and started encountering roundabouts. As long as there isn't any traffic in the roundabout or any traffic that's entering that's going to conflict with you, then go. Okay? You can proceed through the roundabout. The only time you have to give way to vehicles in the roundabout or vehicles that you are potentially going to conflict with in the roundabout. Okay? DC, thanks for all the great advice, Rick. Your videos definitely helped me so far. I hope my test goes well tomorrow. And your test will. Congratulations, DC, on getting your test. And good luck on that tomorrow. You're going to do awesome. Okay, Thomas, you're most welcome. And thank you, everybody, for the awesome live stream. We broke 100. Actually, way over 100. I think at one point we were like at 120. So if I haven't answered your question, drop me a comment. I try to keep up with those. I mean, as best I can. It's a lot of work. But we'll do that. Leave me an email. Send me an email, rick@smartdrivetest.com, and we'll get back to you. Hit that thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to the channel. And thank you again for more than 100 people breaking the century here on tonight's live stream. And all the best. If you have a road test this week, good luck on that. If you passed your driver's test in the last couple of weeks, congratulations on that. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye now.